Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Y'all know what it is. Another late night session with alhamdulillah. And alhamdulillah, man, that Allah Azza wa Jal allowed us to be here at this time. Just a beautiful blessing. So, anybody read Surah Al-Kahf today for Juma? Anybody read Surah Al-Kahf? Anything from it? I didn't. I'm going to keep 100. I didn't get a chance to read it, man. And I had meant to start. You know that on Thursday night at the Maghrib, you can start reading then. Because technically that's Friday. You know what I'm saying? Technically that's Juma. At the Maghrib on Thursday. So that's generally the best way to do it, to start reading after Maghrib on Thursday. That's the best thing to do if you really want to try to get it in and reflect on it. So, alhamdulillah, man, inshallah, man, we all start reading Surah Al-Kahf a little bit more. So, nah. Yep, I did. I pulled it up. So the brother had asked me about the dog having menses thing. You know what I'm saying? One of the new brothers got a dog. It's a girl. So I pulled it up. And I'm going to show you this. So right here, hopefully that's clear. Please excuse me, y'all. So this is a female dog vagina. This is the blood that's coming from it. Well, technically, they won't call it a menses. They refer to it as when they're in heat. Okay? You have, so like people who breed dogs and, who pay attention to dogs in that manner, sometimes when your dog have a tail, you might not necessarily see it, but like people who be having Rottweilers and boxers, some people who cut the, cane corsos and different things like that, dogs that don't be having no tail, those are the ones you really have to watch because they will sit on your carpet, sit on your couch. Sometimes, because they're animals, they'll lick the blood. You actually have, like non-African American people, they actually had like a pad. It almost looked like a dog diaper that they could put on them, so that the dogs don't get the blood in their carpet. And it's not like a flow, but it's enough. It's enough. And like right here, that's probably gonna be blurry too. But like if you look it up, it said dog heat cycle, including the bleeding phase, typically lasts from 7 to 10 days. You know what I'm saying? Which is roughly half of the entire cycle. So for like 7 to 10 days, a lot of these people, dogs, be walking around the house bleeding from the vagina, getting in the beds and putting a vagina on the bed and stuff. And since it's like a little bit of a drip and it ain't like if you put a diaper thing on them, you'll see how much it's catching. What they don't lick, they might lick the blood right off their vagina and then lick your kid face or something, and we know how we had to stay away from the blood of the vagina of a woman. So, imagine the blood of your dog, man. Especially like people, with prayer areas or pray in their house. Yeah, man. And see, some people that had dogs for years and they never realized, like it doesn't click to them. So like a lot of people who understand dogs and stuff like that, and sometimes the bleeding can be a little bit more, and it could be a little dark, and it just dripped from their vagina while they walk around. And wallahi, I seen it from my own eyes. I seen the Rottweiler while the blood was just coming out like a just constant little drip, just while they walked around, you know. I was like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? One of the my little cousin them Rottweiler. So that's something to be mindful of, man. So you people don't want to believe it or not, but I guarantee you done had a dog long enough and it's a female, or you got some dog vagina blood somewhere in your house. You done got some vagina blood somewhere in your house, especially like people who put them in their cars and they sleep in the bed with them. And like this is something else, even for them boy dogs, where go to YouTube and stuff, man, and look at these videos where people got like cameras in the house and they be leaving, and like they dog don't be in the cage, they well trained and stuff. And the dogs be jumping on the bed, humping their pillows and stuff. But the thing is, with the boy dogs, and like if you don't stop them, they get one off. You know what I'm saying? They'll jump up and hump the, couch pillows. People might have children, so the kids might have little stuffed animal type toys. And they'll hump the toys and stuff, man, and get them one off. So some people got dog sperm all on their kid toys and the corner of their couches and even the pillows and stuff. Like I'm telling you, I seen the video where the dog jumped up on the pillows that the people lay on. You know, humping the pillows on the couch and stuff, man, and getting sperm and stuff on it. Like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like for what, man? You know, people in homes, man, security, you can get Ring camera, alarms, deadbolts and all that, man. Sitting around talking about a dog protect them. And I'm going to say this last thing, too. For the brothers and the sisters who have the dogs, especially when they get married. I've seen, then it's true story, because with me being a Wakil, sometimes I had to counsel. Married couple, brother accepted a sister who had a dog. When she would get mad at him, she wouldn't cook. But not one day went by that she didn't put food and water in her dog bowl. Okay. She made sure the dog ate, but wouldn't cook for her husband sometimes. Sometimes wouldn't cook for her husband 2, 3, 4 days, you know what I'm saying? Depending on how they felt. But they made sure that dog ate. You know, how that's going to look to Allah. You know what I mean? And vice versa. Even some brothers, they have a dog and they get mad, or they might not go out they might go out to eat and get them something, don't get their girl nothing, but they make sure they put some food in that dog bowl. So let's go ahead and get to it, man, because everybody here. And I wanted the brother to see that, man, because he asked about it. So be careful, man. You know, get you some of them diaper dog pad things, like the Europeans be doing, man. Put a little dog diaper on your joint, man. I mean, you know, and like I said, they'll lick it. You know what I'm saying? If you got more than one dog, if it's a boy dog around, the boy dog will lick it. You know, you just got to be careful, man. They lick that blood, man, and then lick your hand or your face or lick something in your house, your remote control. And, you know, because I know people who dogs be smart. They had a dog go get the remote control. Dog be done lick some vagina blood and bite the remote and bring it to you. Like, come on, man. What are we thinking, man? What are we thinking? So anyway, I'm gonna try to kill 3 lessons in one, right? By combining, and this is something I want y'all new shahadas to learn this, and this is still following the theme, right? So this is still Aqidah, right? and we're following the theme of how not having a correct Aqidah, not doing certain things, how it breaks down the religion. So I extracted a little bit out of two different paragraphs. I mean, out of two different hadiths. And then also, a brother asked a question in a comment about how do I feel about the Salafis when they say Allah has, I forgot how he worded it, but I know what he's talking about. And in the comments I said, I've never heard a Salafi say that or have that understanding, but I hear the Asharis say that's the understanding that the Salafis have because they argue with them. So what we're going to do is we're going to touch on that just a little bit. I might even, let me write it on the board because it's in my head real quick. We might have a little moment, man, where I can explain some things about tafsirs. Let me write there, right there. I'm going to explain a little something about tafsirs. Let me write this too. Alright. That marker don't really want to write good. Let's try this one out right here. Dang, son. That. So alright, let's get to it. So I'm gonna read the hadith. We're gonna use Bukhari tonight. Inshallah. How everybody doing though, man? Y'all good? What's up, deeds? You got some, you feel like bonding out of first 48? You got some bond money? You answer these couple of questions, man, you could bond out. You know what I'm saying? D's locked up again, y'all, we caught him at first 48 for being misskeen. But that's how we do, man. We can let you bond out by you answer a couple of questions, or just do your freaking homework, but So anyway, this isn't a real long hadith, but we just gonna touch some of the importance of it. So this is an extremely important hadith, and at the same time, this is showing y'all how to deduce and abstract certain particular principles and things that's important from the hadith, so that you could bring it to another focal point and focus on that one little area. And that's basically what we did. I didn't really run, I just pulled it out, and then we're going to go through it and we're going to extract a few things from it. And then we're going to also show, we did it with another hadith, but I'm going to tie these two hadiths together. Right? So this is in Sahih Bukhari, Volume 9, you know what I'm saying? Right? And look, this is hadith number 7084. So just in Bukhari alone, man, you looking at, some repeat themselves, that is true, but you looking at 7,563 hadiths. Right? 7,563 hadiths. Right? So just imagine, just imagine how much more hadiths that's out there when you go and tie in the other books of hadiths. It's just 7,000 in Bukhari, 7,563. So narrated by Hudayfa bin al-Yaman, right? The people used to ask Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the good. Okay? Basically, like the good in their life, or ask them about Jannah, or if I do this, how can I get some rewards? What's the best deeds to be doing? Just some type of examples, right? And he said, but I used to ask him about the evil, right? So that I wouldn't be overtaken by it, so I wouldn't fall into it. You know what I'm saying? Where the traps at? Where the snares? I don't want to ruin myself with this deen. What do I need to stay away from? You know what I'm saying? What I need to keep my eyes open on. You know what I'm saying? Put me on. And see, it's unfortunate because today's Muslim in the African American community, we don't want to be put on. Don't put me on. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. They don't want to be put on to the evil. You know what I'm saying? So, what it says is, so I wouldn't be overtaken by it. So I said, O Allah's messenger, we were living in ignorance and in an extremely horrible atmosphere. And just to paint the picture on the atmosphere, they used to bury their daughters alive in desert sand, just for reasons like so that they wouldn't have a kunya like Abu Saraya. So they wouldn't have an Abu girl name. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want nobody else calling them Abu Maryam. So they would literally bury their daughters alive. So what they used to call weddings, they would have one woman and she would be in a place and everybody would come have sex with her until she got pregnant. Basically what they call a train. They would be lined up to have sex with her, just to show y'all how Shaitan get people. And then the most noble person out of all of them, no matter who the baby was, the most noble person would be the father. Whoever had the most money, whoever had the most status, and this was a form of nikah. So this is the type of atmosphere that they was living in, with intoxicants, highway robbers. Like when you know about Abu Dhar and his family was notorious for stick-up murders. You know what I'm saying? They'd plunder and pillage you and put you to bed. You know what I'm saying? It was wild like that. So it was ignorant and an extremely, just a horrible atmosphere. Then Allah brought us to this good. Allah brought us to Islam. Will there be any evil after this good? Alright? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said yes. So he asked, after this good, after Islam came, will there be some more evil? Are the people going to be evil again? But look at what he referred to as being evil. And this is what we abstracted from this hadith. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes. I asked, will there be any good after that evil? He replied, yes, but it will be tainted. It's not going to be pure. So the deen is going to go back to being good, but pure Islam, it ain't going to be like that no more. The purity, the sweetness of Islam, what we on, the deen, the people, it's going to be tainted. Subhanallah deen. So y'all look at that. It's going to be tainted. This is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what he said was, I asked, what will be its taint? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam And this is where I wrote on the board up here. So on the board, he said, Rasul answered when he said, what will be its taint? Like, what's going to be tainted about it? The Rasul said, it will be tainted with dakhan. It's going to be tainted with dakhan, right? So dakhan is a form of, it's just going to be a little bit of evil. Not extremely evil, but a little bit of evil. So when he said dakhan, what is this little bit of evil? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, some people, this is, now look what he referred to as evil, y'all. Some people will lead and teach other people from principles, opinions, instead of teaching them from my sunnah, my traditions. My traditions. Do that sound familiar? Do that sound familiar? Okay. So now you have problems and issues, and y'all see me go through it. Right now, if you teaching something from the Sunnah and Hadiths, and I'm not going to say it goes against those madhabs, but what's authentic is what's correct. The madhab contradicts the Sunnah, people will get mad at you because they want the principles and opinions from that madhab. Then, this is no knock to madhabs, before anybody start feeling away. Then you have, no knock to your nation of Islams and your Moors, but they teaching a whole nother different principle. You got your Shiites, you got your Sufis, not to mention your Mu'tazilas, your Jahmiyans, that's teaching from different principles and other things. So we're going to touch a couple of things from this example. But what the Rasul warned them was, some of what they do, you will actually approve of it. It's going to look good. There's a little room for different things for you to do. And some of what they do, you're going to disapprove of it. Okay? So, like I'm going to say to my man, when he asked about the limbs, this to show where people starting to preach from principles and opinions, thinking they really got a leg to stand on. Right? Surah number 38, ayat number 75. In this ayat, Allah Azza wa Jal says, Allah created Adam with his hands. Okay. 38, Surah 38, ayat number 75. Allah says, Allah Azza wa Jal created Adam with his hands. Now, I want to explain to the brother and take away what the Ashris and what other people try to say. Now, don't get me wrong, because some Salafis, some people who call themselves Salafis because they know about the name, but they don't really know how to be Salafis. Now, you may have heard one of them misexplain something, because everybody don't know how to be what they call themselves. They might be new, like I said, because I go to the debates when the Salafis be debating the Ash'aris, and wallahi, sometimes I had to jump in and say the Salafi cats because they don't be able to articulate educational wise, and them Ash'aris be busting their head because they be well rounded in Maliki fiqh. And these cats, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man, they be putting that belt on them Salafi cats, man, and it be making me mad. You know what I'm saying? Because for one, y'all ain't got no business on there. Don't even be able to explain what being Salafi mean. I be heated. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even have to take up for a couple of them because he tried to, I ain't gonna get into that. So, what the Salafi, not the Salafi, but we're gonna look at what the Rasul them did. When it came to this, and I'm gonna show y'all the problem, and you can see this stands true what the Rasul said. Allah created Adam with his hands. We leave it alone. We leave it alone. And this is what it says in the Arabic. That doesn't mean we're saying Allah has human hands. But see, what they do is they're going to change that because they can't accept that Allah has hands based off of them misinterpreting another Quran ayat. Why do we leave it alone? Because the Rasul left it alone. Allah, for y'all to change this and say Allah couldn't have said hands because there's nothing like him and human have hands. Nobody said human hands, but his creation has hands. So this is a mistake. Not realizing y'all saying Allah made a mistake. So now they got to change this to either he did it with his power, he did it with some awareness, because they had this misconstrued concept. And I'm gonna show y'all one of the major flaws in that concept. Allah creation, Allah's creations exist. So being that Allah creation exists, we got to keep up with the same thing, right? You can't compare Allah to nothing that he created. So if Allah creation exists, then that means what? And this is the flaw in their stuff. I'm not saying this due to their theory. Allah can't exist. Then Allah can't exist due to this same logic. How do we know that the Rasulullah and the companions and the people he taught, they left it alone? Where can you go find that they said Allah can't have hands? This is a mistake. This really means power. You can't find where they taught that. How do you know that the Rasul took this as Allah has hands? So what they want to do is say they want to take it literal. No, we just leave it alone. See, like when we talked about Aqidah. See, some people, when I was reading to y'all from the Aqidah lessons, see, some people, they're not going to add to it or they're not going to take anything away. They take this away and add to it. But they gotta add something in that suits them. So sometimes they say power. Some of them say inspiration. Some of them say awareness. And then some say knowledge. But at the same time, Allah creation has awareness. So due to their logic, how can Allah have awareness? Allah creation has knowledge. So therefore, how can Allah have knowledge? Y'all see the flaws in that? So there's numerous hadiths. And I'm going to show y'all. So their whole thing is, they're trying to take it as literal. Why don't we just leave it alone? Allah created Adam with his hands. And because it say with his hands, it does say biyadin, with his hands. With hands, right? Now, when you go to the hadiths, well-known hadiths, I'm just going to name one, where the Rasul went to Jannah. And he seen Adam, alayhi salam. He seen Musa. He seen the prophets. And when he seen Adam, what did he say? You're the prophet that Allah created with his hands. Authentic hadith. Numerous. Oh, Adam, you're the prophet that Allah created with his hands. And they left it alone. So we're gonna give a little definition to show, because they want to take certain things, because they gotta twist it up. They gotta come up with all type of different things to make it make sense for them. And then they gotta come up with something that other people not really doing. Oh, you giving them human limbs. Ain't nobody ever say Allah had human hands. And at the end of the day, Allah said Allah created Adam with his hands. Oh, you taking it literal because of this and that. No, see, your mind can't fathom what it looked like, because you only know human hands, so you feel like creating automatically goes like this when it comes to human hands. So because you can't fathom Allah and what him creating Adam with his hands look like, you're going through your mind picturing human hands creating something and then spinning it on other people who leave that alone. Or y'all trying to say, look, no, that's what you pictured in your head. These is the flaws from y'all concept. And you can't link none of them statements, you can't link none of those statements to the Rasul or his companions. You can't link you can't find in the hadiths. So what they mean by we taking it as literal, because they may say stuff like, well, Allah says in the Quran, he's as close to you as your jugular vein. Do that mean Allah is close to you as your jugular vein? I mean, we know not to take that literal. That statement and this statement, they're not the same. So one, it's obvious that you don't take it literal because you understand what it's saying. Just like deeds, right? If I say, out of all my companions, me and D's the closest. But right now, D's in Chicago and I'm here. Do that mean, oh, we close? We understand that's not a literal statement. You understand? When the Rasul say, I swear by the one who hands my soul is in. We understand what that means. But that's not the same as this. Just like if I sit down and say, I got a pen, I got a marker in my right hand. You can understand that. But if I say, hey man, deeds, that's my right hand man. We know that has nothing to do with deeds literally being in my right hand. Like I got my right hand on his shoulder or something like that. So when the ayats are not literal, it's clear. So because I want to word it a little, I'm being careful how I word it, because they need just anything to show that they don't really comprehend it. I'm not going to say this is literal, because I know their concept of literal means what they can picture as far as a human doing something. Allah said He created Adam with His hands, then Allah created Adam with His hands. Period. Nobody said Allah created Adam with human hands. Nobody said Allah created Adam with the hands of His creation. Allah didn't say that. So they trying to twist one thing with another thing. But why is we talking about this? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that dakhan, that little bit of evil, is people going to lead and teach people from their principles and their opinions instead of teaching from Rasulullah Sunnah and his traditions. When Rasul met Adam, what did he say? You're the prophet that Allah created with His hands. Not saying it was two hands, not putting a limitation on it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, we leave it alone. Now all these principles and concepts, this is the sad part. So now when the Rasul said what he said, you got to tear that down. So that not only do they got to tear down the Quran ayats by taking away and then adding something. And like it said, when we talked about the Aqidah, this is the thing that led to sex being created. This is the type of stuff that leads to the 72. This is the type of stuff that leads to the 72. Another concept. So that's why I'm doing this in a way to mix everything in together. So hopefully for the brother, that gives him a little clarity. If Allah say He has a face, that don't mean we think it's a literal human being face. And then if the face is, the word face is used in two different ways, where they want to use the term, this one is literal and this is non-literal, it's distinctive. Just like if I say, out of all of my Muslim companions, me and these is the closest. Y'all understand that? Man, I grew up with dude, man, we real close. But I might ain't seen them in 5 years. We know that don't mean we right next to each other. That's a similarity to as Allah is as close to you as your jugular vein. Allah can reach out and touch you, B, if He feel like it. So we know it's clear on what's, as they using the term, literal and not literal. Nobody putting physical limbs on there. This isn't saying it's physical. These are the things that they have to twist up, but they have no explanation why y'all gonna change what Allah said. All this stuff that y'all come up with, there's a word for that same. There's a word for power in Arabic. There's a word for knowledge in Arabic. There's a word for awareness in Arabic. There's a word for inspiration in Arabic. Do y'all think Allah didn't know how to say Allah created Adam with His power? Do y'all feel like Allah couldn't have said Allah created Adam with His knowledge? There's words for that in Arabic. See, there they go, putting deficiencies on Allah Azza wa Jal, just like by saying it's impossible for Allah to be able to move because He created directions. But Allah creations exist. So I guess due to y'all logic, Allah can't exist either then, It don't make no sense. But this is the first of that little bit of evil that's going to sink in. And when you trace this stuff back, and then you can see from these type of statements how all of a sudden all this distortion came. Now all of a sudden the Quran had to be created. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no way it could be the speech of Allah. There's no way it could be this of Allah. So it had to be something that Allah created. So now they got to tear down all these hadiths. They got to tear down the pen. They got to tear down all this other stuff these Quran ayats and hadiths just to make some sense of something that makes no sense. But when people so new to the deen, they don't know no better. And then the way they wrap you in is, first of all, we're black. We the new black Islam. And then we going to give you this Quran ayat, but let's bust down the tafsirs. Then they got to tear down the tafsirs. Oh, them ain't our scholars. Rasulullah said this is one of the first evil that was going to come in. All right? People going to teach from their principles. So, and we going to continue on. But, at the time, I want to give y'all this. So I want to show y'all, I want to break down something that I was saying. So, right here on this side, you got, we're going to put, we're going to put, now this is no offense. I'm just doing this for the way I want it written down. So we're going to put street imams. I want to clarify something. I don't like how this marker writing, man. This marker don't want to come on. So we're going to put street imams, and then we're going to put imams college or school imams. So like when I was saying, the street imams got the people, the school imams got the knowledge, they got the education, right? So what's happening is this. You got a Muslim. This male and female. So we're going to put right here, this Monday. Monday, they fornicate. And fornicate means girlfriend or not. They have sex with people they not married to. Whether it's one night stands, whether it's friends with benefits, they fornicate. They intoxicate. Right? They deal with intoxicants. They in the streets. So in the streets, for the men, drugs, they sell drugs, gangs, right? They sell drugs, they gangs, or we'll just say that, they clicked up, right? Then for the girls, they strippers, right? They users. You know what I'm saying? They chase people. Not people. Well, yeah, because they'll do it to women too. They chase people money. Okay? You know what I'm saying? For the street women. Not saying this is all women. Okay? So they strippers, they users. So even with intoxicants, cigarettes is all that. So this everything. Even cigarettes and vape. So this is just to name a few things. You know what I'm saying? And they eat all crazy. So eat all crazy is pork, swine, overeat, pork, swine. So when I say pork, that's anything that comes from a pig. Swine is anything that's made from pork products. The grease, the stuff that you might find in your candies, the stuff that's in your relaxers, the stuff that's in some makeups. So Tuesday, because they're in the streets, keep in mind. So we got to put street people. Then on this side, we're going to put school people. They may do some of the same things. They do the same thing, except for instead in the streets, we're going to put study sessions. Whatever nerds do. But they still might do drugs. They still might be clicked up. Alright? So, because these people is in the streets, they're going to run it on Tuesday. When they take their shahada, they're going to take it with the street imams. Just like the school people, they generally going to take it with the college imams. Now, the street people, the street imams might get these people and then take them to the masjid where there's a college imam to get in their shahada. So what's going to happen? And this is what falls in here. What we seeing is, on Tuesday, they take their shahada, right? When they take their shahada, the street imams, their dawah is, we're not going to talk to you about none of this. Alhamdulillah, you Muslim. Now you the same type of person, but you're a little bit cooler because you Muslim. Come pray. And see, this dawah is a form of dawah that came from the Tablighi Jamaat. Tablighi Jamaat is real heavy in Illinois. Tablighi Jamaat dawah is, we don't care what nobody doing. If it's shirk, is it bid'ah? You could come in the masjid and make 6 rakats for Fajr, and a Tablighi Jamaat person ain't gonna say nothing. Because their motto is, as long as you in the masjid, as long as you praying, and as long as you have sincerity. Intentions, it got to be done in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah. It doesn't matter. Right? Because a lot of us come from up under that, and Tablighi and War of Deen is hand in hand, no disrespect, at one particular point in time. They're not going to try to change none of this. And then at the same time, they're going to give them, while they street imams, they're going to give them street Islam. And just like I know a particular brother who says, I know prison Islam when I see it. Man, it's prison Islam. Prison Islam and street Islam is the same. So what they're going to give these guys is street and prison Islam. Why? Because it go hand in hand with the way that they live their life. It go just like this. They don't have to change. They don't have to be different. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to be different. These sisters, they can still put their weave on. They don't have to cover. You know what I'm saying? Or just take something, and that's one of the saddest misconceptions about what a hijab is. A lot of people think as long as you cover up your hair, you in hijab. That is far from the truth. But these school people who have these same habits, except for instead of in the streets, they doing some study sessions. They at their friend's house streaming and playing Madden and 2Ks on video games and different things like that. But because they clicked up with the imams and the college educated people, they can relate to them. See, these people can't relate to them, and these people can't relate to them. So what's happening is, within a couple of months, these school people, they done surpassed the street imams. But they have cut out the majority of these habits because they dealing with some people who know how to educate them and pull them out of it. Not only do they not try to pull them out of the streets, they don't know how, because they still carry themselves like they got one foot in it. They got them to take their shahada, they get them to come to the masjid and pray, but they don't have the education to change all that, because they giving them what? Street and prison Islam. So they can't, by them not being able to relate to each other, you starting to have, because how strong Islam is, it's pulling that criminal element in. Because these is people who still love God, they love Allah, but it's too goofy to play the church. See, playing the masjid is cool. Walking around talking about the Quran and saying Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, Aki, Ukti, Ukti. See, that's cool. You sound like you know another language. You know what I'm saying? But playing the church is a goofy. But see, playing the masjid is some cool shit. Astaghfirullah. I've said it on purpose because I'm referring to their mindset. This is some cool SHIT. So they're not completely transitioning over. You know what I'm saying? And they still looking cool. They come to the masjid, pilta, they're not changing. So that's why I said, and these guys, so used to school and college, they can deal with these people. But they don't really necessarily know how to deal with these people. And the crazy part is this. These individuals might beat the brakes off one of them. And then the street imam probably can't even fight. He just know how to survive in the streets. But they underestimate them and they don't respect them because they nerds to them. It's the same aspect of when you in school and you have some friends, two friends, one a straight A student and the other one a class clown. The other one cool, he smokes cigarettes, this and that. All of a sudden the straight A student is the goofy. The imams that's done been in school and not from this element, they can't relate to them. So figuring out how to blend the two, then you might be able to actually clean some of these Muslims up. But what's happening is, the street Islam is those principles and opinions that they teaching these people. They know how to say Quran and Sunnah, but they don't know nothing about the Rasul Sunnah and traditions. They know how to say Hadith, they know how to say Bukhari, they know how to say Aqidah, but they can't clean them people up. This is some of the end result of this evil that's gonna come into existence. And that's what I was trying to explain. We need some of these street imams who can deal with the street people and they still in the streets, they need to come get that education, man. Because these is the people that need the saving. These is the Muslims that still getting locked up, going to prison, getting killed, killing people. Even some of these women getting killed. Some of them even killing some of these men, or killing a Kafir girl over her Muslim boyfriend. They ain't got to be married. They can still keep fornicating. They can still eat other different types of pork. They got a million excuses. You know what I'm saying? And it's drugs, gang, haram money. They can still have their pit bulls and Rottweilers and dogs. This is a problem. This is a problem. And then when one of these type of people, who might beat the brakes off of one of them, try to talk to them on the cool and get them some ding, they don't want to hear it. Because they had that whole, you soft, you a nerd. Like, who is you? What did you even talking about? I can't relate to you. You know what I'm saying? You look like a Blackistani. This is a part of that problem. Because they teaching from their own principles and opinions. And because they've been on this so long, you can't get them to understand that they wrong, man. It's a problem, man. It's a problem. So, but some people just so happy to have shahadas. Yes, alhamdulillah. But we need Muslims that's up on Islam. That's what's going to fix everything. We need to be able to help them transition from the streets to the deen. Not make the deen a part of the streets. So, we're going to touch this. Where am I erasing? Why am I erasing up there? But all of this is from what's going to happen. People teaching from their own principles and this and that. So look at this. So now, the second hadith that I had, we finna blend it all together, inshallah, bi'ithni Allah ta'ala. We finna blend it all together, man. So like my man, NYC, man, come get these lessons, man. You're not gonna, you can't be a lawyer, man. Did they change? You already know you can't be no lawyer, man. You could knock it off, man. Go ahead and get in them Islamic classes, B. You know, cats, man, who pulling them little stunts, man. Cats be in the penitentiary, man, 10 years, telling they biddy the whole time, yeah, I'm taking college classes. Knowing they ain't doing nothing but getting an associate's in general studies. Been in there 10 years, they get up out the joint and still never graduated. You got enough time to have done got a couple of associate's degrees. Come on, man. You know you can't be no lawyer, man. We need you, baby. We need you. So, this second hadith, and we're going to wrap it up, right? So, this second hadith, let me pull it up on my phone, man, so I don't have to go get another book. Real quick, man. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah ta'ala. Very important hadith too, man. Okay. So alhamdulillah. So right here, let me read some of it, and then we'll go to what I extracted from it. But before I go to it, y'all reflect on that. This was going to be the first evil that was going to come into the deen. Let me finish the hadith off for the people who ain't heard it. Sometimes, man, y'all got to forgive me, man, because sometimes I be thinking, because a hadith may be common in my circle, or sometimes I tend to think it's common to everybody. And I need to stop doing that. So it says, you will approve of some of what they do, and you will disapprove of some of the. you'll disapprove of some of it, right? So I asked, will there be any evil after that good? He replied, yes, there will be. So now, after this phase comes in, right? It's going to get better. So it's going to get good again. And this is when you understand the history, you'll start to know about reformers, like your Abdul Wahhabs, like your Ibn Taymiyyahs, people who came back and started calling people back to Quran, Sunnah, and Ijma'. They was referred to as reformers, like your Ahmed Ibn Hanbals. They was reformers. So it's going to get good again, but that evil is going to remain. As y'all can see, it still remains to this day. People call to principles and opinions way over, and watch how we tie these two together, over Quran and Sunnah. You got a whole bunch of people who practice Islam, fast, pray, make wudu, hustle, and to sit back and say we ain't gonna be asked about hadiths. So the stuff you doing, where did it come from? Like who taught you that? Oh, well, this is what I learned. This is what they do in my masjid. This is what they was doing in jail. This was this. But we don't need no hadiths. Everything you doing came from a hadith. You understand that, right? But they don't understand that. Well, I ain't gonna say everything, because you might be in accordance with a madhab, and some of what they doing might go against. So, as I continue on, so what's the next thing that's gonna come in? Will there be any evil after this good, right? He replied, the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam replied, yes. Some people will be calling Muslims. Well, let me. I don't want to translate it too fast. Yes, there will be. Some people will be calling to the gates of the hellfire, and whoever will respond to that call will be thrown by the person who called them into the hellfire. Now, like I said, I seen some Muslims talking about how can another Muslim call Muslims to the hellfire. All this on this list that these street Muslims can't change, all of it leads to the hellfire. Dope dealing, fornicating, gang banging, stripping, not covering, intoxicants, all this stuff leads to the hellfire. And when other Muslims is calling you to it, they're calling you to the gate of the hellfire. You understand? And then if you fall into their actions with them, guess what they did? They called you to the gate. Hey man, come over here, man. Let's go get these girls, man. Let's run over here and fornicate and drink with them. Got a couple of little HOEs around the way, man. What's poppin'? Guess what they did? They called you to the gate. Yeah. And then when you answer that call and you go indulge, guess what they did? They threw you in it. You understand? And then if you don't make your way up out of it on the day of Yom Kippur, I mean, after that day, if Allah don't choose to see fit in another way, they're gonna throw you in it, Yanni. So that's what it says, right? They're gonna call people to the gates of the fire, and whoever responds, who answers that call, will be thrown into the hellfire by the person that called them. I said, oh Allah's messenger. So again, deducing the next evil after this is gonna be Muslims that call other Muslims to things that lead to the hellfire. What else leads to the hellfire outside of these things? Bid'ah. Telling lies, like the Quran say. Who was worse than the one that forges lies about Allah? I hate to say this, But saying it's impossible for Allah to move because His creation moves, that's a lie. Y'all making up stuff about Allah. And then y'all rejecting what Allah say about Himself. Y'all rejecting the hadiths that the Rasul said about Him that's authentic. And then they try to change the words, not understanding that Fusha has a particular grammar. Some of the stuff that they say, you can't even put that stuff in a proper Arabic sentence. That's why, like they let you know with the Quran, if you change one letter, it changed the meaning so much that people know it's a mistake because of the grammar. So some of the stuff what they say and try to change these words, it won't even make no sense if you put it in a sentence. Yeah. And those are some of the preservers of this deen. The Arabic and the grammar, along with the isnads. That's why it's Fusha. One little change of even just a dot can change the whole meaning of a sentence. That stuff they say you can't even put it in a proper Fusha sentence when it comes to Quran and Hadith. And you go find some people who really know Arabic grammar, they'll tell you. Oh, because they know who they playing with. They know they dealing with people who don't really know no Arabic. Oh, yeah, it could mean this. Yeah, it could mean that. Yeah, it could mean this. Not in Fusha. Not in Fusha. But anyway, I ain't going to get into that because I can see it already. Somebody coming and trying to talk crazy old Sunnah. So, continuing on to finish this hadith. So that's the next thing. Like I said, bid'ah is another thing that leads to the hellfire. Saying things that's not true about Allah. If the Rasul and his companions and them didn't make these type of statements, if they left it alone, leave it alone. If people want to come in with an argument and say, "Oh, look at you, you stupid," you taking it literal. No, I'm taking it how Allah said it, and I'm taking it how His prophet taught it should be understood. Now, if you want me to believe something different, show me where the Rasul taught it should be said like you. They ain't gonna be able to do it. They not going to be able to do it. It's going to turn into the same thing as everybody else. Oh, Sheikh such and such and Fulan and Fulan. I'm not asking you what Fulan them said. Show me where the Rasul them taught it the way you taught it. And like how I be trying to explain to people over and over and over. If this was the understanding to be had, it wouldn't be difficult to find it in hadith. 7,563 hadiths in Sahih Bukhari. It ain't even in 7,000 of these hadiths that it should be understood that way. How is it understood in the hadith that you come across? Just like the one I told you. Adam, you the prophet that was created, that Allah created with His hands. All of us, like they call it, we came through the two nasty tubes. we came through the two nasty tubes. We came from the tube of our father into the tube of our mother, and then born out of the tube of our mother. Know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of people don't like when I say it, but this is real talk. You ain't nothing but a vessel that's full of your mother's period blood. You understand? That's why a woman don't have menses while they pregnant, because all that blood that go out is filling up in your body. You just a vessel that's full of your mother's period blood. You're nothing. We ain't nothing, man. But Adam, alayhi salam, like Rasul said, man, Allah created you with His hands. Whatever that looked like. Not like with a feeble mind to say it looks like this. Alright? Forget all them opinions and principles tied to the Rasul, Sunnah, and traditions. Because like Rasul said, that's the first thing that's going to come, baby. People going to lead and teach people from their principles and opinions instead of teaching from my Sunnah and traditions. What's going to come after that? Now they're going to get to a point it's going to get good, but then it's going to get evil again. Why? Because people going to call people to the gates of the hellfire, and if they answer, they're going to throw it in. What leads to the hellfire? Bid'ah. What leads to the hellfire? Transgressions. Lying on Allah. Lying on this messenger. Adding and deleting from this deen. You know what I'm saying? Let me wrap it up. Right? So it says I said so they will be thrown into the hellfire by the one who called them. I said, "O Allah's messenger, will you describe them to us?" Keep in mind, he's asking about the evil so he don't fall into it. So what he gonna do? What he gonna do when he do to that boy? He's gonna always stick to the Sunnah. He's not gonna just, oh man, that's your little principles, them your opinions. Now, of course, there is some things where you can have differences of opinions. We're not talking about that because people love to throw that in because there's a difference of opinion about everything now when it shouldn't be, which we're gonna get to that hadith. So they think that's just a regular excuse for everything that's in a deen. All right. So he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, will you describe them for us? He said, they will be from us. They're gonna be Muslim. They're gonna be from us. They're gonna be our own people. They're gonna speak our language. They're gonna be Muslim, right? I said, what do you order me to do if such a state should take place in my life? He said, stick to the group of Muslims and their imam, the main body, what people refer to as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the Salaf as-Salih, Ahl Hadith, the people of the Sunnah. Stick to Ahl Hadith, right? I said, if there is neither a group of Muslims nor an imam, he said, then turn away from all of those sects. Even if you were to have to go into the woods and bite and eat the roots of trees till you die. It's that important. Don't mingle with them. Don't sit down and be like, man, they Muslims, man, I just want to be around the Muslims, man. I don't care what they do. I don't care how corrupt they Islam is. I don't care about they sinning and all that drinking and fornicating. I don't care. I just want to be around the Muslims. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, get away from all of them. Even if you had to go be by yourself in the woods and eat from the root of trees. You got to preserve your own Islam, B. So, when it boils down to it, is you going to listen to people's opinion and principles? Oh, man, bump that, man. We got to be with the Muslims, man, the Ummah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we don't care how much corrupting the deen they do. We want to hang with them. Not Sunnah. Not Sunnah. Like I said in the other video, man, I gave up everything for my Islam. Just like how some people mindset with their jobs and or they even if they hustled in the street, what they done came up with, the way they done changed their life. Man, you think I'm finna let some other people mess this? I ain't finna mess this up for nobody. That's how I am about my Islam. See, they like that about the dunya, but they ain't like that with Islam. You know why? Because the majority of their Islam is based off of some principles and prison and street Islam, B. Yeah. Yeah. So what he gonna do? He gonna stick to the sunnah and the traditions. Eat all the way to the point if he had to go in the woods somewhere by himself and eat plants and eat off the roots of the trees and drink rainwater. Because that's what the Rasul commanded him to do. Next hadith, man, and then we gonna close it. I pulled it up on my phone. And watch how these two tie in together. Beautiful, man. Beautiful, man. To me it is, at least. Beautiful, you feel me? So like right here. What you doing, Hadith? Let me pull it back up in this phone. Well, it's already pulled up. Watch how these tie in together. Look at the advice that the Rasul always gave. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was giving us a khutbah by which our hearts were filled with fear. See, that's one thing right there. So right there, what should you take from that? Sometimes you're supposed to give the type of khutbah that fill the Muslim's heart with fear. You're supposed to talk to them about what they don't want to hear. Sometimes you're going to have to beat it in them. To where if they reject it while you talking to them, but when they go sit alone, it's sinking. It's sinking. So, our hearts were filled with fear and tears came to our eyes. Imagine that, y'all. Like that make my heart feel warm. Imagine sitting in front of Rasulullah during Jumu'ah service. And he up on that minbar, got the whole masjid scared and crying. That let you know, man, that khutbah got to be powerful, don't it? But look, let me give y'all a little bit what came from this khutbah. So we said, O Messenger of Allah, it is as though this is a farewell sermon. So counsel us. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I counsel you to have taqwa of Allah. Be mindful. Have God. Have that consciousness. Be mindful and always stay conscious of Allah. To the point where the same fear you had listening to that khutbah, you should have that when it comes to Allah, right? And listen and obey your leaders. And if a slave were to become your leader, verily, even if a slave was to become your leader, if they're righteous, within righteousness, within what's legislated in the deen for you to listen and follow them in. Then he says, verily, he among you who lives long enough. So this is going to happen in their time. And this is where we abstract. He, from whoever amongst you live long enough, you're going to live to see great controversy. A lot of differing. A lot of differing. So because right now, but the answer is also in both of these hadiths. So right now, we're going to say you see a lot of differing. We're going to say 4 madhabs, right? And then we're going to say Quran and Sunnah. We're going to say wudu. We're going to put it in the middle. Wudu. I don't want it that high up. It's cool. We ain't wasting time. So wudu. You got wudu. We're going to put a check. You got wudu in the Quran. And you got wudu in the Sunnah. Where should our wudu come from? gonna put a circle right here. That's one for Quran and Sunnah. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4 madhabs. One, we're gonna put a V. One version of wudu, 2 version of wudu, 3 version of wudu, 4 versions of wudu. Do we go to their principles and opinions? Or do we go to Quran and Sunnah? Huh? If you're going to stick to this, stick to my Sunnah and my traditions. Now, if you want to look at these, which one of these is in accordance with what's in here? Because when they say, oh, well, there's a difference of opinion about it. Okay, which one of the companions and the Rasul differed about it? Did this companion argue with that one? What companions differed about it? Oh, you mean they differ. What's the dalil for the way they make wudu? Salah. You can find the positions in the Quran. You can find how to do it in Hadith. And I always point this out. 1 version, 2 versions, 3 versions, 4 versions of Salah. Oh, what is the difference of opinion? Oh, yeah? Well, which one of the companions and the Rasul differed about it? Oh, none of them? Oh, you mean they differ about it? Y'all starting to get it now? Y'all starting to get it? One of the first evils that's going to come. People are going to teach and lead the people from principles and opinions instead of teaching them from my Sunnah and my traditions. Now, one thing that I want to reiterate before I can go down the list in everything. If, let's say, the circle means correct. If this is correct, if he got it correct, and they got all X's, and we're going to say this Hanafi. So Hanafi got it correct. Do that mean Hanafi got it correct? Or do it mean the Rasul got it correct? This ain't the Hanafi way to salat. This ain't the Hanafi way to pray. If it's correct, it's the way, it's the Sunnah. This ain't the Hanafi way to make wudu. If it's correct, it's how to make wudu in accordance with Quran and Sunnah. Y'all understand what I'm saying now? People going to teach and lead from principles and opinions other instead of from my Sunnah and my traditions. And then if you get it right, it ain't got nothing to do with you. It's about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But the Rasul let them know, whoever amongst you live long enough, you're going to start to see great controversy, a lot of differing. And right now, we don't have to go no further than the 4 madhabs to see what? Difference of opinion. And because they have difference of opinion, people think you can have a difference of opinion in everything, and that's not true. That's not true. But there is some things you can. How do we know that? Because some things the Rasul did different ways. Because sometimes when they was in Medina, Mecca, under persecution, they did things one way. And then when they moved to Mecca, they started to do things another way, but that way was still permissible. You could do either or. Just like certain things, fasting on particular days. There was a fast that the Rasul used to do. I'm going to give one of y'all homework assignment. I'm going to give y'all homework assignment. When was the first Eid? Try Google. Was Eid, and this going to give y'all the answer, was the first Eid for Ramadan or for Dhul Hijjah or for something else? Look that up. And if you look up the first Eid, it'll give you a better understanding of Eid al-Fitr. Y'all do Google. If y'all got some books, some of y'all brothers that got book deeds, you find that out, we accept that as your bond money. We'll uncuff you, baby. That's your bond. Bond out with when was the first Eid. But there were certain things that the Rasul used to fast for, and then when Ramadan came, he left that fast off. But you could still do it. So for some people, because he left it off, you have some say you can't do it no more because the Rasul left it off. Then you have some say, well, no, because the Rasul still allowed the companions to do it. So then, boom. For some who don't know both opinions, then you could say, oh, well, it's a difference of opinion whether you could do it or not. Really, it ain't, because you could really do it or you don't have to. But they might not both be aware. They might not be aware of the hadith where the Rasul said it's cool to still do it if you want. And then they might just be only aware of what the Rasul abandoned it. Like they don't know each other's dalil. So they just bumping in each other like, well, to you your way and to me mine. There's a difference of opinion. And this is exactly how some of this happened. But in reality, the choice is yours. So in some things, yeah. Let's continue on with the hadith, man, so we can go and do what we got to do, right? So, you must, because there's going to be a lot of differing, there's going to be a lot of controversy, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people leading and teaching from principles and opinions. Right? What did the Rasul say in that one? You got to stick to Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And not this new Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, because everybody want to claim it. But y'all have some things that's not from the Sunnah. Y'all have some beliefs about Allah. Y'all have some beliefs about things that ain't from the Sunnah. It actually goes against Quran and Sunnah. So how y'all Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah? Which Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is just basically the group of Muslims that stick together on the Sunnah. But y'all got some actions and beliefs that contradict the Sunnah, that contradict Aqidah. How y'all Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah? People always want to lay claims to anything that make them the righteous group, see? It ain't about what you call yourself, it's about what you own. So, Rasul, stick to the Sunnah. What Rasul say here? So because there's going to be a lot of differing, because there's going to be a lot of bickering, because there's going to be a lot of teaching from principles and opinions, there's going to be bid'ah. There's going to be a group, there's going to be Muslims that's going to call other Muslims to the hellfire. Some of it might look good and some of it might not. Because some of it is sin and some of it look like ibadah, but it's bid'ah. Huh? Then you got to keep in mind that next group after that. That group that's going to call people from the hellfire. So teachers, you got to be able to look out for all of that in the Muslim Ummah. There's not going to be there's not going to be the 72s for nothing. You can't be careless in this if you really want Jannah. So, the Rasul said because of this, you must keep to my Sunnah and the Sunnah of the Khulafa al-Rashidin, the rightly guided caliphs. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali. May Allah be pleased with them. And the rightly guided ones that come after them. You know, which there's there's some differences and different things on how they started falling in line after that. Who's, but alhamdulillah. And then it says the Khulafa al-Rashidin, those are the ones who guide to the right way. Right? Cling to that, cling to my sunnah stubbornly. Be stubborn about the deen, man. Cling to it stubbornly as if you biting down on it, clenching with your molar teeth. Just like if I was to bite this pencil, B. There's a difference between this and this. I can't even get it all the way to the point where I'm biting with my molar teeth. So you got to lock on that thing like a pit bull. You got to lock on this sunnah like a pit bull, man. And don't let it go. So look what it say. Cling to it stubbornly. The heck what people say, man. You got to be stubborn about it. Cling on to it like you biting onto it with your motor teeth, because you need to beware of newly invented matters in the religion. You need to beware of bid'ah in the religion, religious bid'ah. Because verily, every religious bid'ah is a misguidance. And every religious bid'ah that's a misguidance leads to the hellfire. So again, how can somebody call you, how can another Muslim call you to the gates of the hellfire? By calling you to some religious bid'ah in belief and in actions. Yeah. So, as you can see in these two different hadiths, with the same message. One is letting us know you're going to see a lot of different. You're going to see controversy. If you just look at the four madhabs, it's hard to find one issue that all four of them agree on. There's a lot of different in them. Right? You can see it. There's a difference of opinion in everything, but that don't mean it's a legitimate difference of opinion. Then it breaks down how these things gonna start. Because people gonna lead and teach from their own principles and opinions. Some of what they do, you're gonna approve of. Why you gonna approve of it? Because it's gonna look good. It's gonna look like deen. Might be some bid'ah though. Or it might be something that's permissible. It might be a legitimate ruling. But by saying some of it you're going to approve of and some of it you won't, means what? Some of it is going to look good to you. But make sure it's from my sunnah and my traditions before you act upon it. We got a problem with that. Because you know why? Not everybody. Because we prison and street Muslims. That's why. We want the Islam that tie into us still being Kafirish. That's why. That's why. But some of us don't know we prison and street Muslims. We just still listening to the cool individuals. Get it together. And 3875. If Allah created Adam with his hands, that's what he did. Now the Rasul them, you find some tafsirs, you find some hadiths where they change that and they give a different meaning to it, then we go with that. But until then, if Allah said he created Adam with his hands, then he created Adam with his hands. Now if your mind's so feeble to the point where you feel like that's somebody saying that it's human hands, because you want to disregard this, it's too difficult for you to accept, so you rejecting what Allah say about itself because of something else, another ayat that you're twisting and turning because you got Aqidah issues. Ain't nobody giving Allah human limbs. This is what Allah said about itself in Arabic. Is this how the Rasul and his companions understood it? Absolutely. Because it's in hadiths. Now when it's time, when it comes, and it doesn't have a technical, as they want to say, literal meaning, where he say, my soul, I swear by the one my hands is, the hands my soul is in. We understand that. Just like, hey, my closest companion Islamically is deeds. But I can have a Muslim right here and a Muslim right here. We could be standing to where our arms is touching. And I say, man, deed my closest Muslim companion. Everybody can understand that. So when it's used in that form in the Quran, it's understandable. Don't let them fool you, man. So let me get up out of here, man. Give me a little nap so I can pray. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Any mistakes I made came from myself and the shaitan. And anything I said that was correct came from Allah Azza wa Jalla al-Muqtadir.